Shalom Aleichem. Mishnah Yomi continues in chapter 4 of Shevuot, Mishnayot 7 and 8. Now, yesterday we saw there is a very big distinction if the witnesses that the litigant is trying to obtain their testimony, if they're testifying about an actual monetary claim, actual mammon, money that was lost. It's a loan, it's direct damage, it's a deposit, it's something lost. But if it's a knas, a penalty payment, for example, that 4 or 5 times payment for an animal, certain animals that were stolen and then slaughtered, that 3 to 4 times extra, that's a knas, that's a penalty. That's not the direct value of the animal, that's extra. So if the testimony is only about that portion, then they're not obligated if these potential witnesses violate their Shevuot, if they in fact did know the testimony, because after all, the Mefarshim point out, the accused person, the defendant, could go in and admit that they owe the knas and be pater, modeh b'knas pater. They would still owe the principal, but if the testimony is about the knas, they could admit they owe the knas and be off the hook. So the testimony does not have the potential to violate this oath that they did not know the testimony. As we said yesterday, we concluded that really it's only when there's a real claim for mammon, for financial compensation, then the potential witnesses are on the hook if they swore falsely, they didn't know the testimony. With that in mind, let's start Mishnah Zion that brings more cases of this nature. Mashbia ani aleichem, he wants them to swear, im lo tavo eduni, if you don't come to court and testify, shani Kohen, that I am a Kohen, a priest. Now the Kohanim had their own court at the entrance to the temple to do research and check the yichus, the genealogy of the potential Kohanim who wanted to come serve in the temple. The Mishnah adds, shani Levi, or he's a Levi. If he's a Levi, he can have Ma'aser Rishon. Shani Eini ben Grusha, I'm not the son of a divorced woman. If a Kohen marries a divorced woman, then the offspring are halolim, and they are not fit to serve in the temple. Sheini ben chalutza, or I'm not the son of a woman who married Mr. Cohen after she received a chalitza. Recall it's the alternative to yibum, and rabbinically chalitza is the equivalent of gerushin, so it would be a rabbinical chalo and not fit to be in the temple. So in all these cases, just to skip ahead to the end of the Mishnah, the Adim who swore falsely would not be on the hook for this Shevuot because it's not a direct monetary claim. There are financial benefits to serving in the temple. They receive portions of the offerings and the hides. There's a financial benefit to being a Levi and receiving Ma'aser Sheni, but it's not a claim for compensation in court. Now the Mishnah adds a similar case, She'ish Ploni Kohen. A messenger comes, an advocate, a lawyer, a representative comes and says, I want you to come to court and testify about my client that he's a Kohen. She'ish Ploni Levi, or a Levi, She'ena ben Grusha, not the son of a Grusha, ben Chalutza, not the son of a Chalutza. So the Chiddush here is, in these cases where there's no direct monetary claim involved, then the agent or the lawyer can't hold them on the hook for making the Shevuot. If the potential witnesses made the Shevuot in this case, they would not be liable, but only because there's no money involved. But if the appointed agent or lawyer came to get witness testimony about a direct monetary case, the nezek or the loan outstanding, and there was a false Shevuah, then the witnesses would indeed actually be on the hook. Or the next case, the agent comes and says, I want you to testify, she'onos ish ploni et bito, a certain man violated Reuven's daughter, his client, pita et bito, or seduced the daughter. Now, recall we said yesterday, these cases of violation seduction, there is a knas payment, a penalty payment that the Torah requires, but there are also direct payments of damage, embarrassment, devaluation, where the violator or the seductor could be sued in court for these things. So here, the agent is not, directly connected to the case enough to make an enforceable oath upon these potential witnesses, because really, it should be the father and the daughter are going to court to claim their damages. He's sort of an indirect party. Finally, the Mishnah brings other cases where there's no compensation, even though there should be, but because the person who's accused, the defendant, might actually get the death penalty. Shechavel bi b'ni. He wants the witnesses to testify that his own son wounded him. Now, if that in fact happens, then the son is chayav mita, can be executed by the court, and someone who could be executed is pater, does not have to pay money. Or shechavel bi chaveri, shechid gedishi b'Shabbat, or my friend, I guess he's not a friend anymore, he wounded me on Shabbat, or he set fire to my haystack on Shabbos. Hare elu petorin. The witnesses who swore falsely, they didn't know testimony, are not on the hook in these cases. The previous cases, because there was no direct monetary claim involved. In these last cases, was even though there is a monetary claim for sure, but the defendant stands to be executed by the court if in fact this accusation is proven. Now on to Mishnah 8, Mashbia ani aleichem, he wants them to make an oath, im lo tavo, if you don't come to court and testify on behalf, sha'amar ish ploni litan li metayim zuz, v'lo natan li, that Levi over there, Reuven, whoever he is, he told me he was going to give me $200. He never gave me the $200, and you guys were there when he told me he'd give me, so come testify. Hooray, elu peturin. If these witnesses swore falsely, that they didn't know, that they weren't there, and it turns out they were, they are not on the hook. She'ein chayavin ele al tviat mamon kepikadon. Because witnesses who are making this Shevuot edut, this oath that they don't know testimony, they're not really on the hook unless there's actually a claim for money outstanding, similar to a case of a pikadon. A pikadon is a deposit. So if you're swearing that Reuven says, please swear that my deposit is with Shimon, that Shimon has my item or has my money, then that's what we're talking about, where there's a claim for a specific amount of money. If it's a claim that he simply never gave a gift, that would not be an enforceable Shevuah. We're going to see a little later, there's actually a separate Shevuot pikadon about, getting back a deposited item. But we're talking here about the Shevuot edut, about the oath that's imposed on the witnesses that they could violate if they in fact knew the testimony and they were unwilling to come testify. Shokachachem tizkun lemitzvot.